Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for attending our November 15th community meeting to discuss our upcoming 2022 proposed capital project. Before I begin, I do want to just acknowledge a few people and also discuss the format for tonight. So first of all, I would like to introduce our Maine-Endwell Board of Education who are in attendance. My name is Jason Van Foss, and I'm the superintendent. Next to me, to my left, is Jeff Lamoureux, our assistant superintendent. Also in attendance is Carrie Tiroli, partner with King & King Architects, Mike James, senior project manager, King & King Architects, and Brian Grinter, development manager for LaChase Construction. So the format for tonight, we will give a presentation on the 2022 proposed capital project, which will include scope of work, financial impact, and then timeline. We will be, anyone in the audience tonight who wants to ask questions, we will answer them in person, but also we have a question and answer feature on the Zoom. It's at the bottom left. If you want to submit a question, we ask that you please submit the question through the Q&A. When we're done with our presentation, we will then answer those questions, and we will continue answering questions up until 6 o'clock. We do have a firm stop at 6. We do have another event that will be going on afterwards here. Just a reminder that the next community meeting for the proposed capital project is December 1st at 5 p.m. in the Maine Memorial Auditorium. So again, thank you very much for attending tonight's meeting, and we will get started. So the first part, we are going to present the scope of the project, and we're going to go by each building. So first, we're going to start with the Maine-Endwell Elementary School, and we really want to highlight two particular areas that are part of this capital project, proposed capital project. First of all, we will be adding building-wide air conditioning to the entire facility, the entire square footage. The other major addition will be bullet 4 in the universal pre-K classroom addition, which will add 4 additional classrooms. Currently, we have 3 full-time UPK classrooms in non-UPK size classrooms. This will allow us to have proper size for those classrooms. And also, sorry, go ahead. And bathrooms. And bathrooms, thank you. And then also some other minor work will be done as well at Maine Memorial. At Homer Brink, we did add air conditioning in the entire Homer Brink building in 2019. Therefore, air conditioning is already part of that building. We do have some smaller items we want to address, but the major addition will be the new gym that had been approved and was supposed to be completed in 2019. But due to cost and escalation and our need to remove it from the project in order to get other work done, we had to remove that piece. We told taxpayers and community members that when our next capital project came, the Homer Brink gym addition was going to be a top priority. So you will see that in the rendering in the yellow and blue, that will be the gym. And we'll have some more drawings of that the closer we get to that time. At the middle school, not a lot of new work at the middle school, other than we are adding building-wide air conditioning to that building. So that will make Homer Brink, Maine Memorial, and the middle school will all have air conditioning building-wide, along with some other improvements to the middle school. And then our last building, where we are seeing a large amount of work, is the high school. The high school has several major items. Number one, we are adding air conditioning to the high school. So at the conclusion of the 2022 project, assuming it's approved, every building in the district will be air conditioned. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. We are also putting in we're adding a parking lot to the vacant land adjacent to the high school. We hope to add around 120 parking spots. Which we know will alleviate the congestion that many people experience when we're here at the high school. We're also going to do some reconstruction in the back parking lot to obviously improve that parking lot as well. And then we're going to replace the turf and the track, which have hit their useful life by the time the work is done, they will have hit their useful life. And so from a health and safety standpoint, they are at their life expectancy. So we will be replacing that as well. So a lot of work will be done, obviously, at the high school. Well, when you take all 4 buildings, the brunt of the work, the majority of the work will be the air conditioning, the HVAC, obviously to address health, safety, and proper environment for learning. So we wanted to pause, and we know that there were going to be questions around air conditioning. So we'll talk about air conditioning, but back in January, knowing that we were coming to a public, we would be coming to the public for a vote, the Board of Education put out a survey to the community. And while we only had 144 respondents, the information was very important when we were looking at the scope of this next project. So when you look at the respondents from this survey, you'll note that the third bar, air conditioning, was a major priority. And so these were people that obviously parents, faculty, staff, community members who have been in these buildings and have been in all of our buildings, and recognizing that we really need to condition that air for optimal learning environment. But also note that some of the other areas that we are touching this project, some space, some classroom improvements, and some improvements in health, safety, and security are also high on the list from the community. So we do want to, use the information that we get from the community to obviously steer our decision making. Now you'll also know the 4th bar down, additional all-other outdoor services. We'll talk about that because that is one area that potentially we could see some additional work done in the district if all the numbers align. So multi-phase approach. Jeff, I'll turn this over to you.
Yeah, so as Jason alluded to earlier, when we had our 2019 project, our Homer Brink Gym Edition, which was a big support from the community, we weren't able to do that for a variety of factors, COVID-related issues such as there wasn't too many bidders at the time, so we saw a low number of bidders. We saw price escalation on the equipment, materials, and supplies, labor shortages caused some issues, and just COVID in general. So as Jason said, we weren't able to get that in, so we wanted to make sure we got that into this project and really try to protect those first 4 pages of this project on the 4 buildings. And then we identified these other areas through input from the buildings, directors, and whatnot. These are areas that once we know that we've secured phase 1 and phase 2, the bids are open, the numbers are good, then we're going to move to this, kind of see what monies we have available left over. Obviously, we'd love to do the whole amount, but if not, we'll prioritize that, working through the board, working through our principals, directors, buildings, and departments to see what of those we'll attack. So again, we're really trying to be conscious to make sure phase 1 and phase 2 stuff gets done. We're really trying to protect our budget this time, so that's something that we learned from our last project. So on the financial side, the nice thing for this, in 2007, we had a vote for $59.6 million. As that debt service is coming off the books, we're able to secure about $3 million of anticipated surplus savings in this year's current budget, surplus funds from the stimulus, foundation aid increases, and then expenditure reductions on the health insurance side. We were able to come up with $3 million to put towards this project to ensure that there's no tax impact. So if you look over to the right-hand side where it says what the local share is, being that it's in red means a negative number, means that we're not asking taxpayers for any increase in tax dollars to fund the project. So great to be able to do that amount of work, financially prudent to try to kind of space our projects out, and we've always tried to do that 3 to 5 year windows of capital projects since Jason and I have been on board here. Again, same look, different pie chart. You see it says capital reserve, but it's not, there's no voting required for this in this project. That's actually just surplus funds. So in lieu of our 2007 project where we actually had a capital reserve vote as part of that, there's none there. We've had the board's already allocated that $3 million. Out of that $64 million, another 47.8 comes from state aid, because most of this work is state aidable on the building aid side. And then as we alluded to, we have that retiring debt coming off the books in the 25, 26, 27 school year. So that combination made for a really good approach to this project, and again, no tax impact. Again, right now, this is our best guess. Actually, Brian and I had lunch today to kind of talk about where we thought this would be in terms of the end side of it. But right now, we're in phase 1 design. We've worked with the architect and the engineer to start designing some of the work for the back parking lot, the new parking lot to the north, and then the sanitary lines that'll run parallel to the football stadium. that'll be work that will get done if the vote's approved. We'll have that work started in 2023, so people will see work right out of the gate. And then what we've really got to kind of work through, trying to keep that end in mind of 2026 is how do we phase in that much HVAC work over 3 buildings with a limited potential amount of bidders to do it. So that'll be, you know, obviously first goal, get the project approved. December 21st, I think King and King got some work to hit around running on that one. So yeah, so and project would be probably fall of 26 is what we're looking to get done.
So just one thing to know, we recognize it's a long timeline. Where you see the refresh for Homer Brink Elementary, in order to generate maximum state aid for Homer Brink, we need to delay the start of construction to meet the 5-year window from 2019 to that 2025. So there's a reason for that. It's not because we're trying to delay it. We're trying to be smart with how we utilize state aid, and that's why that work is being pushed off until as late as possible.
And then obviously if we were successful with the phase 1 and phase 2 bids, the numbers were good, and we moved to that alternate list of stuff, that would move out into the 25, 26 range, as well as work for that to be completed.
So before we get to answering questions, we did want to note there are first of all, Tuesday, December 20th is the capital project vote, 11 to 8. In the normal locations, you would vote for school budgets and Board of Education elections. So Maine-Endwell Elementary will be, one of the sites, and then the district office, the staff development room will be the other site. There will be a postcard that goes out within the next week or two, reminding folks of where those locations are. And we would also encourage anyone to contact myself, Jeff Lamoureux, with any questions moving forward regarding the budget. This information will be put on our website, and obviously we will have another community meeting, again, December 1st at 5 p.m. at the Maine-Endwell Elementary. And so, at that point, are there any questions from those that are in person before we move to those questions that have come in through the Q&A? Questions? Okay. Kyle, are there any questions on the? Okay. At this time, then, I believe this will conclude our first community meeting. Again, if you are interested, the vote, December 20th at Tuesday, 11 to 8. Next community meeting, December 1st, 5 p.m. Maine Memorial Auditorium. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.